If you were to ask anybody who the best player in the NFL is, most people will answer Aaron Donald. In 8 years with the Rams, Donald has 8 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pro selections, is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year winner, Defensive Rookie of the Year winner, and now Super Bowl champion. Donald has 98 sacks in his career already and is the only defensive tackle averaging over $30 million a year. And even if the man retired today, he would still be a Hall of Famer. Donald will go down as one of the best players in NFL history. So, how the hell did 12 players get drafted before him? There wasn't too much debate over the first overall pick at the 2014 NFL Draft. The Texans took the stud of the class, Jadeveon Clowney. His career got off to a bad start after he tore his meniscus in week 1 of his rookie season. But he came back in 2015, and then the next season, he broke out. Clowney had 4.5 sacks, was a second-team All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, and made the NFL Top 100 Players list at 49th. He only continued to get better over the next couple of years. Clowney was a Pro Bowler in each season and had 18.5 sacks over the span. Towards the end of his rookie contract, Houston decided to ship him off to the Seahawks for Jacob Martin, Barkevious Mingo, and a 3rd rounder. He had a down year and ended up signing a 1-year deal with the Titans in the offseason, but spent most of the year on injured reserve with a knee injury. Luckily, he turned things around in 2021, recording 9 sacks with the Browns, and he recently just signed another 1-year deal in Cleveland. Clowney is good, but he's not a number 1 pick talent. But to be fair, almost the entire 2014 NFL Draft was pretty disappointing, especially the 2nd pick, Greg Robinson. The Rams took Robinson to be a reliable tackle, and that just never happened. He started in every game over his first 2 years in St. Louis, but ahead of 2016, showed up to training camp 15 pounds overweight, got penalized 12 times in 10 games, and was a healthy scratch in week 11. The Rams traded him to the Lions for a 6th-round pick in 2017, and then in 2018, he signed with the Browns and lost the starting role to an undrafted free agent in camp. Robinson last played in 2019 when he got ejected for kicking Kenny Vaccaro in the head. In the offseason, he got arrested for having a shit ton of the green stuff, 156 pounds to be exact. He clearly didn't learn his lesson because then in 2021, he got arrested again for having $120,000 of illegal drugs. Safe to say, the man made a lot of good decisions in his life, much like Blake Bortles did in the pocket. Bortles was the lone QB taken before Aaron Donald, and you probably know how that turned out. But do you remember how it started? Bortles took over in week 4 as a rookie, and of course, like any rookie, he struggled. He threw for over 2,900 yards with 11 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. Not good, but he did improve a lot over the next few seasons. In 2015, he had over 4,400 yards and 35 touchdowns to 18 interceptions. Good enough to make the NFL Top 100 Players list at 56. The next season, he struggled, a lot in part to an AC joint sprain and wrist tendonitis, but came back healthy and he was okay. He wasn't really that great. He threw 3,687 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, but the Jaguars did go 10-6. Clearly not because of him though. In 2018, he just straight up sucked. He signed a contract extension before the season and later got benched and released after the year. Bortles has thrown for a total of 3 yards since. He's had stints with the Broncos, Rams, Packers, and Saints, but is now a free agent. The first wide receiver went off the board at 4 to the Buffalo Bills, Sammy Watkins. Watkins was able to make his mark as a rookie in Buffalo, setting franchise rookie records with 65 receptions and 982 receiving yards. Now, 2015 ended up getting off to a really rough start. He had less than 100 yards through the first 5 games of the season, a lot due to a calf injury. But then, out of nowhere, he freaked out on fans and it became a huge mess. Luckily, everything turned around and he ended up finishing the year with over 1,000 yards, the most of his career, at least so far. He even made the NFL Top 100 Players list of 2016, but hasn't returned even close to form since. Mainly because the dude's made of bubble wrap. He dealt with a broken foot and needed screws in 2016, and the Bills clearly didn't want to deal with that, trading him to the Rams in a trade that fetched a 2nd rounder. He was only in LA for about a year and had less than 600 yards. Then, he signed a $48 million deal with the Chiefs and became the king of showing promise for the first few weeks and dominating in fantasy before, just sucking ass for the rest of the year. Watkins never had more than 700 yards and missed 14 games in 3 years, but he did get a Super Bowl ring. Last season, Watkins had less than 400 yards in Baltimore and signed with the Packers this offseason. Honestly, the best player taken in the top 5 was at 5 when the Raiders took Chicago, but in 2021, he had to have a season-ending foot surgery and ended up getting traded this offseason to the Chargers for a 2nd and 6th round picks. The Falcons made the boring and right decision to take an offensive guard at 6, Jake Matthews. He comes from an iconic family. His dad is a Hall of Famer, Bruce Matthews. Brother Kevin played center in the NFL. His uncle Clay Matthews Jr. was an all-pro linebacker. And of course, his cousin Clay Matthews III was a linebacker for the Packers not too long ago. Jake Matthews missed a single game as a rookie, and he started every other game in his career for Atlanta since. He's earned a $75 million contract and recently got a $52.5 million extension. At 7, Tampa Bay took Mike Evans, and damn, has this man been producing for the Bucs since he took the field as a rookie. He set franchise rookie records with 68 receptions, 1,051 yards, and 12 touchdowns. And since, Evans has been the epitome of consistency. He's the only player in NFL history with 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons to start his career, and even despite the Buccaneers offense getting more and more crowded with talent like Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski, he stayed consistent and even helped Tampa Bay win a Super Bowl. His best year came in 2018 when Evans had over 1,500 yards. In 8 seasons in Tampa Bay, he has 9,300 yards and has only missed 6 games in his career. Leave it to the Browns to easily make the worst pick on the list. Cleveland took corner Justin Gilbert at 8, and he was in and out of the league before you even knew who the hell he was. He missed 2 games as a rookie and had an interception. Yeah, that was the peak of his career. He only played in 9 games in 2015, and after the season, he was traded to the Steelers for a 6th round pick. He only played 11 defensive snaps through the first 10 weeks and was released after the year. Then, Gilbert got suspended for violating the league's substance abuse policy, and that was a wrap on his career. 1 pick later, the Vikings got a stud linebacker who spent 8 years in Minnesota, Anthony Barr. He had a pretty solid rookie year that unfortunately ended in a knee injury, but he came back in 2015 and was named a 2nd-team All-Pro. During the year, Anthony Barr broke his hand. But guess what? He didn't miss any time. From 2015 to 2018, Barr made the Pro Bowl in every season. Then, in 2019, he actually had a deal in place with the Jets, but changed his mind and came back to Minnesota and continued to be a reliable linebacker for 3 more seasons. Currently, Barr is a free agent. The Lions thought they had found a transcendent tight end at 10 when they took Eric Ebron. He didn't see much success as a rookie and in both of his first 2 years in Detroit. He dealt with hamstring issues, but he began to show flashes. In 2016 and 2017, he had his moments, including his first 700-plus yard season, but that didn't stop the Lions from just releasing him. Ebron latched on to Indianapolis, and if you remember his wild fantasy football year, that was in 2018. 750 yards and an insane 13 touchdowns. He had one hell of a year, but it was nothing like that in 2019 after he suffered a season-ending ankle injury. Ebron signed with the Steelers, and while he had over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2020, last season he lost the starting job. Another boring pick. The Titans took Taylor Lewan at 11. He's been a great staple on Tennessee's line since entering the league. He made the Pro Bowl 3 times and even appeared on the NFL Top 100 Players list 3 different times. Plus, in 2018, the Titans gave him a 5-year, $80 million deal, making him the highest paid lineman in the NFL. He's missed a good bit of games in the past few years and is coming off of a torn ACL, but when on the field, Lewan has been one of the best. Now, probably the biggest name and most imitated by middle schoolers in backyard football was the 12th pick to the Giants, Odell Beckham Jr. Odell made an impact in the pros. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year and made the Pro Bowl, but that wasn't why Odell became so famous. It was the catch. You probably know the catch that I'm talking about, and if you don't, you either were too young or you just don't watch football. Despite pass interference, diving backwards with full extension of his right hand and only 3 fingers, Odell somehow hauled it in. He became an instant legend and only continued to stud out, making the Pro Bowl and being named a 2nd-team All-Pro in each of the next 2 years. He had over 1,300 yards in each of his first 3 seasons, but he hasn't even returned close to form since. He was ranked 8th on the NFL Top 100 Players list of 2017, but he only played in 4 games and missed 4 more the following season. Then, in quite the shock, the Giants shipped him off to the Browns in a trade that fetched a first-rounder. Things probably could have gone better in Cleveland. After 1,000 yards in his first year with the Browns, Odell struggled in 2020 and then was released in 2021 after his father was outraged on social media about how his son was being used in the offense. In November, Odell signed with the Rams and ended up helping LA to a Super Bowl, but he tore his ACL in the process and is currently a free agent. Odell is a stud, and the Rams would love to have him back, but at the very least, LA will still have Aaron Donald terrorizing opposing offenses.